With time, you stop doing all those little things because now you think, I already conquered this.
Welcome to Mama's Playground. This is Darlene.
This is Monica.
Monica, last time I saw you,
It wasn't that long ago.
I know, but it was a real fun, crazy, adventurous night.
I'm super happy. I want to give us a pat on the back
Yes.
that we actually went out.
Yes.
Like a couple's night without kids. We decided to go all the way from Broward, all the way.
From Weston. Well,
we were in Weston. Yes. We were at like a little party thing in Weston and we were like, I think we want to get out of here.
yeah.
And we
all
Ubered
did.
to Miami. That's like,
No, first we go to your house to leave the car so we can Uber. And I remember telling Fabian, like, I'm good just staying here.
no. And I was like, we are not staying here.
And you're like, nope, Uber's here. So
Yes.
we get on the Uber. It was such a fun ride.
Yes.
We kept interviewing the driver.
He was really nice. That was a really nice Uber driver.
Yeah.
But we had a good time. We went to a little bar.
We went to Wynwood.
It was nice to get out, to be in a different scenery. I mean, not that far from our house, but it seems far for us. And we had a good time.
Yeah, until the ride back.
Oh my God.
This was okay. So the guy picks us up in a Tesla.
Oh my Lord. I had never been in a Tesla, by the way.
And I'm like, whatever with those cars. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know how they work. I don't know how you open
It
the
feels
door.
like now they're giving them away for free because I see them in every corner. But so we're in the car and then, I don't remember much because first I was like right behind him and we had been drinking a lot. But I hear that he was like a robot.
Oh my Lord. This guy was freaky. Just so that you know, I'm sitting in the middle. Your husband's in the front or Fabian's in the front with him. And I'm trying to make small talk with the Uber driver so that he feels like, hey, we're a cool bunch of people. No, we had like 30-minute drive with him. The guy would not talk. He was a robot. We are convinced he is AI. He was literally sitting there. He wouldn't crack a smile, nothing.
That's crazy. It was so different from the other one, from the first driver. Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, we weren't like super drunk, but we had a couple of drinks on us. So my mind was kind of like, oh my God, we're going to get killed in this car. This guy's going to kill us. I'm never going to see my kids again. How do you open this door? I've never been in a Tesla.
Yeah, they're going to like swallow us. And
I was like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, no, Monica, just relax, enjoy the ride. But he didn't, not one word.
Yeah, I remember because Fabian is sitting right next to him. So I remember Fabian was kind of like, are you there? Are you alive?
Yes, but
like,
no, he wouldn't answer.
Talk. Yeah.
He wouldn't answer him.
So it was just weird because we're in this car that's so, it's a Tesla and then it's like a robot was actually driving us. So who knows?
And at first I was like, maybe there's a language barrier. But when we got off the car, he said, okay, guys, have a good night. And I was like, it wasn't a language barrier. He understood everything. He just did not want to talk to us.
He pressed the button that says, say good evening, good night to the customer.
Yes.
But yeah, it was great that we did go out, just the four of us, double date. It was great.
Yeah, that we were dressed. We had a good time. We didn't feel like old people. I was like, I'm not an old lady.
You kept saying that at the beginning.
No.
You're like, the first place we went to,
Well, it was an older place, and I was looking around. I was like, listen, I have not gotten to this point in my life. This can't be it. So
he's like, let's go to Wynwood.
And I'm happy you guys came. Anyways.
Yeah, we got to do it again.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about exactly this, relationships and the different phases that we go through in a relationship and how to like keep it
spicy.
Oh I was going to say sparky. I don't know why.
I'm not your best to ask about keeping it spicy, but I mean, in regards to this topic, tell me something, because obviously when you start a relationship or when you're dating somebody or when you're going to go on a first date, the first thing you do is, I'm going to shave. I'm going to lather myself in cream. I'm going to put matching bra and underwear tonight. I'm going to put, my nice clothes. I'm going to have the best presentation ever when I get to this date, whether it was Fabian or whether it was before. And then
these are like part of the first impressions.
The first impression. Yeah. But what happens? Like, what happens after a while of being together?
Life happens. Children happen. Comfort happens. You become more comfortable with the other person and you're already washing their underwear. So
It has stains on it.
no, thank God in my household that
Doesn't happen.
doesn't happen.
You know, the underwear with the big hole on it, and it had like a yellow stain or
Yeah,
something.
the socks that don't match.
Oh God, we're like, "Ugh." But yeah, no, not that happens, but we're exaggerating. But yes, like how, you wonder to yourself, this is kind of like when you go on the first job interview, right? You go in your suit, or depending, what industry it is, you go the best presentation ever. And then you get the job and months pass by. And now you go to work without makeup.
Yeah.
In a comfort zone, you know what I mean? Unless, they require you to be a certain way. And it's the same with the relationships. Like, why do we get comfortable? Why do we allow ourselves to say, well, we already conquered this? It's like, that's how I see it. We conquered it. They're ours now. And now let me not shave. Let me not wear the matching underwear all the time. Yeah, sometimes no,
The Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do we stop? What happens? What makes us say it's okay now to give up, basically?
I mean, our butt gets bigger and it doesn't fit in Victoria's Secret anymore. So you go to Ross shopping for underwear.
And you look for the granny panties that go up to your, like, oh my God, or maybe it's just us and somebody else is listening going, I don't do that. I still buy my lacy underwear with my this. I'm sure.
I mean, I buy them. It's just they're uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Maybe I have to size it up.
There was like etiqueta still sitting inside of your drawer. You've never worn them before.
I mean, so I just feel like for first impressions, you have to also keep it authentic. You're not going to show up on a date or first day at work, whatever, completely different from who you are, like wearing something that you would never wear. So it's kind of like looking good, being all like, what's the word? Tidy?
Tidy.
But being authentic.
Yeah, but I think sometimes even then, like even you get people that on a regular basis, let's say, are always dressed down. They don't dress up ever. And then they go on this first date with their hair completely done. I'm talking about women, but men also. With their hair completely done, the makeup, they look like the Victoria's Secret model on this first date. And then they conquer, right? Let's say now the relationship starts.
Yeah.
And then 6 months down the line, now you have confianza with this partner of yours. And it's like, well, and then you start every day in leggings and sneakers, and then they don't ever see you again with the hair nice because they're like, oh, wait, hold on, what happened here?
So that's okay. So let's go by phases. So then we have like the honeymoon phase. Let's say that first impression, it worked out. The first date, it worked out. Everything was great. Then the honeymoon phase where you love everything that he does. The things that later in life are going to annoy the shit out of you.
Yes.
But at this point, like, you love everything. So yeah, that's the honeymoon phase. Everything is perfect. You're excited. There's so much attraction, euphoria, like a lot of like sex.
Yes, butterflies in your stomach.
I know.
All of
so
that.
I wonder how long that phase lasts. Or I mean, it depends on.
I guess it depends on the relationship. I was reading again because every time we bring up a topic, we try to like look for actual psychologists or so on that say, and they were saying like 6 months, sometimes to a year. It all depends on, I guess, your relationship and your personality and how you are. But I would say, let's say 6 months. 6 months, you've already gotten to know each other. You have some more confianza. Obviously, in the year mark, it's like, okay, a year. We've been together a year. Now
you get more comfortable because it's how we already went. We got the year. And another thing that happens, and actually that's how we started, Fabian and I. We had known each other, but then like when we got back together, like 7 years later, we were hanging out. He had a trip to Russia, and he was traveling a lot for work. And I think he left like for 2 months, and we were on the phone constantly. And that's another thing that happens. At the beginning, you can be on the phone for an hour.
Talking, yeah.
You're talking for an hour, for 2 hours. After that,
now it's like
I gotta go. What are you calling me for? What do you need?
But that's so wrong.
I know.
It's like the shiny new car that you buy and you love your car. You're like, oh my God, I'm gonna keep this car clean. Nobody eat in the car. And then like 3 months later, there's food, toys, everything. You're like, screw this car. Why are we like that? I don't get, why don't we appreciate what we have and say, okay, I'm not saying that you have to be on tip top like all day long with makeup. No. But I'm saying like, where do we say to ourselves, let's continue to bring and it's not just sexiness or whatever, but let's continue to keep ourselves well for our man or them say for our woman. Like, we're not going to always be sweaty and smelling like crap. Like, let me put my cologne on. Let me take her out on a date. Let me, appearances, it's not everything, but it is what attracted you in the first place.
But it has to go on both ways.
Both sides,
both sides. Because at times, and it's happened, and I've seen it. You see a woman, she's all dressed up, like all nice, date night, and the guy's wearing like flip-flops with socks.
Yeah, and he's just like not maintained at all.
Exactly. So it goes both ways. And, it's a matter of maintaining the spark in the relationship, like setting up date nights.
Yeah, like shaving, ladies shaving, and men, if you're hairy, like, please, like, just, shave,
Yeah. I mean, I guess a lot of times, like, you do that, the cleanup, the tune-up, where you know that you're going to have, like, sexy night, because then you start planning it. When you have
it's on a schedule now.
It's like, okay. And especially if you're trying to have more kids, it's like you have, like, the schedule and all that, and you lose that, the spontaneity of the moment. Yeah.
That spontaneous, like, thing that is like, which is nice because it wasn't planned, and it just, two people get together and it's like, we want each other. We want to show each other love, etc. You know what I mean? Like, etc. Look at me. That's not even a word. Etc. or whatever.
It's okay. Here we're bilingual. We talk English, Spanish, and whatever we make up in between. But you gotta like maintain it, set up the dates. Like, say this Friday we're gonna do this, dress up, both of you. And I was thinking about another one. That's a good one. What do you like? What makes you? For example, I love surprises. So one thing that he would do at the beginning was that on Mondays he used to play soccer, and I was living with my parents. And we would bye, have fun, enjoy the soccer, talk to you tomorrow. And he would show up at my parents' house after soccer. So he would surprise me because the window's like right by the hallway where they live. So like he would knock on the window and those are, I can say that helped a lot in me falling in love with him. Like, and he still does things like that. When you like leave notes in the car, if he knows that I'm going to use the car, like he'll leave a note like good luck in your audition or whatever, and I love you. If he's going to travel, like put notes on the suitcase. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but it's
little things that make you feel good.
Yeah, and I think that when you're in a relationship, it doesn't matter if you've been together for, I don't know, 5, 10, 20, 30 years. It's just like keeping those things, like remembering what is that one thing that the other person loved that you would do, and try to keep doing it. Like the notes, if we're going to go out on a date, instead of like us coming out together, like he'll go out first and he'll pick me up and he'll open the door and kind of
courting you, which is what, typically we do, and it's not just men or women, we do that in the beginning. We typically put our best foot forward, right? And then as time progresses, and then obviously if you have kids, the kids come in between and they start to take precedence. And then that's the problem though. That's where the problem is. And that's where it's not just, when they would talk about divorces and all that stuff, it's not just money, because money ends up being an issue as well. But it's also that. It's also forgetting that your spouse was the person that you did find sexy. You did, let's say not just attraction, but also, you fell in love with, and you guys courted each other, and you would bring flowers to, or you would surprise him with something, or you'd call him when they say, oh, you know what? I love you. I miss you. Whereas with time, you stop doing all those little things because now you think, I already conquered this. It's mine, but we shouldn't. It's like ungratefulness. If you look at it, it's kind of like an ungrateful thing. Like I conquered it. I have it now.
And you take it for granted.
And you take it for granted. And that's everybody. I do it. I'm sure you've done it. I'm sure your husband's done it. I'm sure, Benjamin does it. And speaking in between like us, and I'm sure everybody goes through this at some point. And it's like, how do we become conscious on an everyday basis and say, even if it has to be scheduled, let's carve that time out and let's really make it. We have Monday through Sunday. Well, you know what? 3 days out of this week, we have 1 hour where we're going to have our sexy time together. Yeah. Have that time where, we used to sit and talk all day long. Let's have this conversation, like carving those times out. And it's hard.
Bring out the wedding album or the honeymoon pictures or any moment that would take you back to that time.
Yeah, because it's so easy to forget with everything that comes in between. of what brought you together in the first place. Because time, starts, evolving. The kids, again, get in between, work, this
Kids.
and that. And the kids, yeah. And you know what? I remember hearing a psychologist and many successful couples, even in Hollywood, because there's not that many.
No,
there's not that
they
many.
leave Hollywood.
Yeah.
A lot of successful couples, they're still together because they did leave that
they
circus.
But what did they say? A lot of them said we had kids. I can't remember the exact person who it was, but she's like,
an
kids.
actress.
Mm-hmm. And she was on an interview and she said, they're like, well, how have you lasted this long in this especially in this world? And she's like, we've always, with our kids and everything, we are number one. We are number one, and we continue to court ourselves. We continue to make that time. It's not always perfect. That's definitely true. But we make that time, and our kids are not number one. She's like, I know somebody else is going to go, how do you say that? Your kids are number one. But you make your couple number one, because the day that your kids get bigger and they grow
and
up,
they go to college,
they're gonna leave you, and then you're gonna be like, who is this person next to me? I don't even know them anymore. It's
so that's one thing that I admire. My sister and her husband, they've been together forever and they have now their grandparents, and with 3 kids that are older. Well, not Cyrus, he's 13, 14, but they still have that, like, I don't know. Like when I see them, they still there's PDA, they hug each other, and I love that. And that's something that a couple that I really admire, because even with the older kids, they haven't made it all about just the kids, also themselves.
No, definitely. And they put I've seen them when we've gone out every so often. Like they'll go to happy hours together and with the friends, and they socialize and they keep themselves moving, versus being that couple that ends up, it's just home, work, kids,
Netflix, which is totally fine. But it's a matter of like also doing different things. So one thing that we're doing is we do couple tennis on Thursdays.
Okay.
And even when we're like mad at each other for one reason or the other, we're like, we know we're going to go to
it's therapy.
Tennis. It's therapy, yeah. And that's been very helpful, because that's a day that we don't, well, sometimes, for work or whatever, then we move it for Friday. But we've been pretty consistent. It's been a couple of months now that we're doing it. And I don't know. And it's something sexy about like sweating
together. Yeah, no,
together. And why not?
And you're not with the kid.
And you don't care that the person is all sweaty. Like at the beginning, you would probably like, oh my gosh, she's sweaty, he's sweaty. But that's a good side. That then as years go by, they know your imperfections and they still love you.
Correct.
And then also they give you compliments. That's something that's very important. Like to hear, like my Fabian's good with that. He's like, oh, look, you look so beautiful today. Or I'm like, oh, you look hot. And those little things.
Little piropos that they
Los
teach.
Piropos.
Yeah.
Those are good. Like trying to, what would we be doing if we were just like recently started dating? And I don't know. I feel like couples, even like more than ever, you have to keep it like that throughout the years, because if not,
it evolves.
It evolves.
Like anything, any relationship evolves. I think that's the nice thing with time that passes by. Like you get to appreciate, even if it's things that you wouldn't have found sexy or interesting at the beginning, right? You start to not accept, but you love these quirks or these things about the person that if they maybe would have showed you those quirks at the beginning, you probably would have been like, no, like that's too much confianza or that's too much. So I get the stages of courting and then the honeymoon phase. And then as it starts to fade,
Have you heard of the 7-year itch?
I have heard of the 7-year itch. Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you think do you know of any couple that has gone through that?
Yeah, I think, and
we're going to go for 7 years next June. I'm like,
I do know the 7 years, the 7-year itch, and it's hard. Those were like hard times for a lot of couples. Like
I think it does happen.
Yeah.
I know a couple, they did go through it bad. They're still together, but they did have the 7-year itch where they were, is this the person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life? Really? Yeah. You start questioning. So yeah, hopefully
That doesn't
we'll
happen.
be good by June.
I mean, so like, let's say okay, so here we are. We're not experts again. I would love to bring like a relationship sex therapist or something that deals with couples one day on the show.
Let's do it.
That can give like some real tips and say, look,
Can we bring our husbands for that one too? We'll sit them right there. Listen carefully.
And they're going to be like, listen,
Take
ladies,
notes.
you girls listen to us, okay? Because they have a different way of seeing things, right? It was like that book. I read it a long time ago. It was called Women Are From
Mars,
Men Are From Jupiter. Or
Venus.
No, Venus.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
That one. Oops.
We just killed the title.
I'm sorry. We're going to have to correct that. But anyways, that book, like, it's so interesting. I remember reading it again years ago, and it was so true, everything it said. And again, it goes back to how we communicate with each other, our wants, our needs,
Yes.
which are different. And we have to learn that we are not the same, you know?
Yes. And if your spouse tells you something like, oh, you know, I don't like that top, or that doesn't, which I love that. I always ask for complete honesty. Don't tell me I look skinny when I know I don't. Stuff like that. But yeah, communicate. And if your partner says something that you should change, then don't take the criticism as a bad thing. Be like, you know what? Maybe he's right. And
I guess it's the tone of voice that they would use at that point. Because they're like,
the timing.
You know what? That thing makes you look fat. You know, there's ways to say things.
Yeah.
But if they come and say, mi amor, you look beautiful, but you know what? That shirt makes you a little bit like, that one probably looks better. It's the way that things are said. And trust me, you can get away with a lot depending on the way you say it. You know?
Yeah. And I know there's men that they get upset because the women, I think it happens more the women criticizing what the man is wearing. It's like, really? You're going to wear that?
Yeah.
You're like all nice, like in a dress, and he's got like a t-shirt. Really?
And sneakers, and you're like,
Yeah. So men, listen to your wives.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, we are right.
It's true. It's true. It's true. I think it's both of us. We all have to listen to each other. I feel like we, and this is me included, and this is, again, we learn from our own podcast episodes. I think we take away, if anything, some advice, and we say, shit, we have to work on that, or it stays in our mind, is create that time. Try to bring up the things that brought you together in the first place, you know, and not forget about, you know, what brought you there, what brought us here 5, 10, 15, 20 years later. Because obviously it's not the same. El cariño no es que cambie, pero el cariño actually evolves and it becomes more. Now you love them for who they are.
Yeah, and this is the father of my children. Yeah. And, you know, it doesn't change. Like you said, it evolves.
It evolves. But the part of maintaining yourself and shaving, and I say shaving because I keep saying shaving because
let me see your leg.
I'm telling you, one day Benjamin goes to me, I did not shave. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I was running around in leggings probably for about a week, and I was like, screw it, I'm not going to shave. Who's going to see it? I'm really fair skinned, so my hair is kind of blonde. And one day he's like, do you think that you can, you really have a lot of confianza with me? He's like, can you please shave? I was like, shit, let me go shave.
Then be like, you want to shave me?
Oh, yeah. You know, I have a razor over there. You want to lather some cream on me?
There you go. You know, spice it up. Why not?
Definitely.
But yeah, very important that set up like date nights, like I said before, and then continue doing things that you were doing at the beginning. Yeah. Like take a notebook and write it down, and just so you and keep it alive. If you know that he loves when you wear this color, then try to wear it more.
Yeah.
And again, it goes both ways. I know men are listening.
Yes.
You got to do it too.
So remember, men and women, continue courting. Continue that little spice that brought you together if you've been together for many, many years.
And embrace how your relationship evolves. Like, embrace it.
Definitely.
All right.
Anyways, if you guys have any input.
Another one, send notes, send text messages during the day, like thinking about you, things like that. Yeah. I mean, if you are, don't fake it either.
People are going to be like, I'm not really thinking about them. Let me just send a message so that they think I'm thinking about them. And anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. So thank you guys for listening. If you have any tips, hit us up. We're on Instagram, mamas.playground. And if you have any ideas for future shows, anything you want us to talk about, we love ideas. Welcome in this podcast.
Yes, please comment on anything and we'd love to hear from you.
All right. Thank you guys. Happy parenting, happy relationship, and keep it loving.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.